Steve Dotto here. How the heck you doing this fine day? I am thrilled you are joining us, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday, which will begin in just a few moments. But before we begin, let me get a few administrative details out of the way so we don't have to clutter up the time during the actual webinar. First, this webinar is being recorded and it will be available in replay on both Facebook and on YouTube. We leave the replays available to you for 1 week after the webinar is broadcast, and then after that we take the webinars and we archive them for the purpose of our patrons. More on that in a few moments. Every week we host these free webinars. They are on topics around productivity, content creation, and a little bit in online marketing. They're available to you free of charge. However, we are a community-funded channel and we appreciate your support. And you can show your support in 3 ways. The first way is what you're doing right now, just being here, commenting, sharing it with others, being a part of our community. We appreciate that. But in a more practical sense, you can also support us through the Super Chat, which is available to those of you viewing on YouTube. You can always give us a tip if you find something incredibly valuable in what we share. But our main way that we support the Dotto Tech channel and Webinar Wednesday in particular is through the generosity of our Patreon community. If you drop by patreon.com/DottoTech, you can support us financially on a monthly basis here, keeping Webinar Wednesday on the air. But there are perks. Oh, indeed, there are some fantastic perks. The most important of which is we archive each and every one of these tutorial webinars, and the entire catalog is available to our patrons. Now, sit back and relax. We appreciate you being here, one and all. And today's webinar is going to be something special starting in just a few moments. Steve Dotto here. How the heck you doing this fine day? Oh, the anticipation is palpable because this week it is App Wednesday, the return of App Wednesday here to Webinar Wednesday. I would like to welcome you one and all, and I hope that you really enjoyed today's webinar. So for those of you who are new to us, App Wednesday is a competition where I bring several of our friends and influencers from around the social media and marketing and productivity space. And we share the tools that we like. We share the best ideas, the best tools, but we don't just share them. We've turned it into a contest. There are people who will be, there are winners and losers today. There will be some will leave humiliated and others will leave enlightened. Oh, gee, my focus. Let me just fix things. I'm still getting a new system here. And so I gotta, I seem to be a little bit better now. So that's what we're going to be doing today. But before we begin, I need to acknowledge and thank the sponsor of Webinar Wednesday, which is our streaming partner, Restream. We stream the entire show, Webinar Wednesday, live on YouTube and Facebook using the technology from Restream. We use Restream Studio, and it allows us to effortlessly stream, to do these shows live to as many people as want to watch. You know, I come from a TV and radio background, and I got to tell you, it's an amazing bit of technology when we can pull together all of these different sources, things that used to take a full camera truck or a control room. We're able to do that just using a tool like Restream Studio. And not only does it allow us to pull all of the different assets together to deliver this to you, but it also allows us to multicast it across multiple platforms. Now, we just go to YouTube and to Facebook, but we could add Twitch, we could add other platforms if we chose to stream to multiple platforms as well. So if you want to up your live streaming game or step into live streaming for the first time, check out Restream and Restream Studio. As far as I'm concerned, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without them. So thanks so much to them. All right, let's get to our roster. All right, I'm going to bring on, first of all, I got to bring on Erik because I haven't seen Erik forever. Erik Fisher is joining us. Erik, who used to be with Social Media Examiner, now he's with, oh, I've lost the name. Just a minute. Don't tell me.
The color scheme here matches the brand, so that should be a clue.
It's my brain. My brain is racing at a million.
Agorapulse.
Agorapulse. My brain is racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and I've reached the age where words sometimes just flee. It's like You used to be there. I'm going to hide from you for a moment. That's what words do for me sometimes. Eric,
Sounds
how are you
like a
doing?
gray matter to me, man.
Yeah,
So I'm doing really well.
now so last time we saw each other would have been almost a year ago today. So you've been settled into Agorapulse. What are you doing at Agorapulse?
Yeah, I'm the director of social media education there, which means I'm heading up an initiative we're doing, which is the Social Media Manager School, which some people may know of. We've partnered with them, Agorapulse has, and Andrea Vall and Phyllis Kerr started it off. We have now been partnering with it and have been rolling things out. Lots of big things coming this year. So really excited.
Well, I know they did a bang up job of teaching people how to manage. So it's really designed for social media managers to manage multiple accounts using your tool, which is Agorapulse, just an awesome bit of kit. All right, let's bring on our next contender, and it's her first time with us, Amy Mitchell. Amy, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Now, Amy, you are there's 3 Canadians and 1 American on today, so Eric's going to really have to do his thing. But Amy, tell us a little bit, because you're new to us. We've never been on with us, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm a systems strategist, and I teach online businesses how to build their backend systems. So I am an Asana certified pro. I teach a lot of Asana, and I just help people with productivity, but also just putting together their tech on the back end of their business to make things smooth and streamlined.
Where would I be without Asana? We left Asana briefly because there was a few things that we just couldn't get it to do, but we came back to it because the things that we couldn't get it to do, the things that it did so much better than the things we couldn't do. So now we're back. Maybe you can help us get the things that we couldn't do on.
Yeah, now we could just pairing up another tool to do that.
That's good. So now we could leave it at just the 3 of us, and it would be an awesome show.
Great.
There's really no point in doing much more, but I guess, well, I made him a promise, so we're going to let Mike Vardy join us as well. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Eric. Good to see you too.
Oh, green room. Right. There's a green room. Okay.
Yeah. So Mike Vardy is the productivityist, and the only reason he agreed to slum and do our particular live stream this week is he has an event he wants to shill for next week. So what's that? What's your event? The Big Lebowski? What's it called again?
No, it's called the Big Ready. So
the Big Ready. That's
Big
it.
Ready, and it takes place next Tuesday, February 2nd. If you go to thebigready.com, you can learn all about it.
You've got a great roster of speakers. Mike asked, I got it. Can we share?
Yeah.
Can we share?
Go ahead.
Mike asked me last year to speak at it this year, and then it was coming up. I go, why didn't you ask me to speak? He goes, we got too many old white guys. Too many old white guys in it already. And so we can't use you.
Yeah, but next year we don't have any old white lined up yet, so it's entirely possible.
Well, give it a shot. I'm easy. That's why I thought it was the Big Easy, because I'm easy one way or the other. But the Big Ready is a great event. This is the 2nd year. Last year it was in person. This year virtual. April will drop the links. April's not going to join us on camera today, but she's there in the chat, and she will drop the links if anybody's interested. But if you want to learn more and you want to just maximize your productivity, I encourage you to take a look at that. All right, so here's what's going to happen. On App Wednesday, what we do is each one of our guests shares between 3 or 4 apps. If we have time for 4, we'll do 4, but we're going to do a minimum of 3 apps. Their favorite, not their favorite, but the little hidden gems, things that they probably maybe couldn't do without, or that fly under the horizon as far as productivity. Gem finds that they have that they think are unique. And then we will judge them. You and I, the audience and myself, we will judge them. And at the end of it, we will pick a winner, and we will humiliate all of the others for all of the weak sauce that they brought to the table. So that's going to be the routine. So they've shared them with me. And we're going to try some new fancy tech out. I'm going to try and share the websites as we do this. So we're going to try and even up the production values today. So who wants to go first? Oh, well, I'm going to make Eric go first. Thanks for volunteering. So I'm going to minimize Mike and Amy for a moment, and we're going to let Eric lead the way. And Eric, tell me what your first app is that you want to share with us today. Kick off App Wednesday. Come strong, my friend. Come strong.
Yes. Let's start with Meter.
Meter.
Meeter. It's not Meater. That'd be a whole different app.
I think that would be that sounds like a thermometer for barbecuers.
Yes. Or something along the lines of barbecue through the mail. But no, this is a tool that I am using literally right now on my computer. I can see it. This is called Meter, Meeter. In fact, I will say all credit due, CEO, founder of my company, Erik, was the one who told me about it. And what this does is this is a Mac plugin that allows you to bring all those different meeting joining links that you get in your calendar all in one singular dashboard that will not only tell you when your next meeting is and keep it ready and handy. There's a countdown up there if you want it in the menu bar, or not, you can turn that off, but it will show you where your meeting is, if it's on Zoom, if it's on Google Meet, if it's on, I don't know, there's other examples, but anyway, we won't go through those. Skype, FaceTime, and it will then give you literally the link to that right there handy. So you don't need to go dig into your calendar, then find the day, then scroll down through all of them, find the right meeting, then open up the information, then click the right link. And if it's like, oh, this link only works in Chrome, copy and paste it over to Chrome. Like, you can use it. And I've used it today. I had way more meetings than I thought I was going to, and it's amazing and it's free. So there's my pitch. That's for everybody with the multitude of meetings we've had in this past year daily. This is amazing.
I have missed a few. Erik, I have one question for you. Does it overcome the invitation issue that has if people have multiple Google calendars? You know how you might have one Google Calendar with your email address that's a personal, and another one with your business address, and how sometimes invitations don't make it onto your calendar if they were sent to the wrong email address originally? Does it help you overcome that particular issue?
Not if it's going to be sent to the wrong email, but I've got multiple calendars. I've got 3 different calendars with meetings that come, there's my Agorapulse, there's beyond the to-do list, there's my personal, all in one calendar. And I've connected to my calendar and it's pulling from there. And then I can see which calendar it is as I look at my dashboard list of meetings for the day.
And there's much wooing. Look at that. We've incorporated the chat for the first time. A new feature they've added to Restream is we can now overlay the chat, which we are doing.
Nice.
And there's much wailing and gnashing of teeth. This is Mac only.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, it's Erik brought the Mac only one. Erik is the guy that doesn't like Android users. I'm just going to say there.
I don't dislike
consider
Android
it as
users.
as the
I just
voting
used
happens.
what works for me.
Of course. Good stuff. All right, Erik, I'm going to send you back to the green room, and let's bring up Amy. Amy, so now you've seen how it happens. Are you excited?
I am so excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you got for me, Amy?
I want to talk to you about Streak.
Streak. Oh, the Gmail CRM app, right?
It is, yes. So Streak is a Gmail app extension, so Gmail only. And there's a lot of different things that Streak can do. It essentially can turn your Gmail into a CRM. You can create pipelines, all sorts of things. But the thing that I want to share is a hidden gem within Streak. So I don't want to talk about Streak in general. I want to talk about Snippets. And so what Snippets are, you can see down in the corner of the screen there. Snippets is this ability that Streak has to create almost like a canned email. So Gmail does have templates, and you can create template emails. But Snippets allows you to create short codes of text. So one of the things that I have is I have a bunch of snippets created in Streak. I use the free version of Streak. I create snippets with it starts with a hashtag. So I can press, for example, hashtag 30, and that brings up not only my 30-minute calendar link, but a hyperlink sentence that says, feel free to book here. Hashtag 30 takes me to these little snippets of text. So I can do paragraphs. I can do auto responses. So it doesn't have to be a whole email. It can just be a little snippet of text. And so this saves me time every single day.
There are a couple of these CRMs that are built in email. I use Mixmax, which is very similar, I think, in a lot of ways to Streak, and taking advantage of the templates of those short-coded based kind of little applets really improves your communication. Now, does Streak do open tracking? Does it let you know who's opened in your emails or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Open
so
chat.
It's doing all of those available as and again, is it Mac only?
It is browser-based Gmail only. So it's a
Mac and Windows. So you're showing love to the entire community, not just to the Mac snobs.
Yeah.
Well done. All right. So Amy's comes on strong with Streak. I've always liked Streak. I think it's a great starting point. Well done. All right, Amy, sending you back, and let's bring on Erik. No, we'll bring Mike on. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm raring to go. I want to come in strong and hit with something that's going to help with email as well. but it's a standalone email application that works on Windows, web-based, Mac, iOS, and Android. And it's something that I use to bridge the gap between my email and my task management, and it's called Front. If you go to frontapp.com, it's what I'm using to manage my email and have for quite a while. Now, the great thing about Front is that it does have things like snippets included. So as I bring more team members on, I don't necessarily have to train them in Text Expander. We can create like these templated email snippets inside of Front, and you can either have them for yourself or you can share them with your whole team. But the cool thing is as I was adding new team members, I can still have multiple email accounts listed below. So I can assign emails to people. Let's say an email comes to me, but it's meant to go to the podcast. I can simply assign it to a teammate, which is really, really handy. I can automatically do things like have conversations about the email in the discussion area. So that way, let's say we don't want to move it to our task management system. It may be something we can do real quick and we don't want to overload, Asana, Todoist, ClickUp, whatever. We can just have the conversation inside of Front, which is really helpful because not everybody that I'm working with wants to jump into whatever task management system I'm using. So I just bring them into Front, and then that's where we have those conversations. It kind of eliminates Slack from the equation. It eliminates, to a great degree, some of the task management solutions, if they're not necessarily going to be on board with those. It does eliminate Text Expander. And to a degree, what it does is if I'm going to do an email snippet, with Text Expander, it'll fill out the email body, but won't fill out the subject. With these templates,
Yes.
it's the subject line too. So we've been using it a lot with the Big Ready as an example with Vanessa, who's my staff. She's sending emails through that way. Plus,
so this is one of the ones. A lot of these apps create conundrums for us, which is you've used a tool like Text Expander.
Yep.
You've built a library of expansion keystrokes into it, and now you've got a new tool that you can that can replace it, but doesn't really replace it all, but replaces probably 80%, 90% of what you do.
Yes,
which is
yeah.
And like Slack, for instance, I'm sure that Amy would say, a lot of people use Asana for chatting within the project. And so they move the conversations there, but then it does a lot of what Slack does, but it doesn't do it all. So do you run the risk when you use a tool like this of dividing your attention and end up becoming, just with too many silos of tools?
That's not the way I look at it. I look at it as a communication hub because you can bring your social media accounts into it too. So you can see what social accounts, Twitter, all that stuff shows up there as well. So I look at this as a communication hub for your entire business, for your team, whatever. I can see everything inside of Front, including, and I haven't implemented this yet, but you can include, your kind of like your chat bot, the thing you see at the bottom of Restream right now, that help button. Front has that built in too. So I look at this as like an integrated communication hub that I can use with my entire team. And it's something that bridges that gap between, I don't want to send that email to Asana or whatever. I just want to work with it inside of our email application. I'm really loving it. And I think it's just one of those tools, like you said, it can replace 80% of what some of these others do, but it gives you one place to look. So I'm a big fan. That's why I'm coming in hot with Front.
Just web apps or Exchange ready? Does it work with Exchange as well?
That I do not know. I'm not 100% sure of that.
Okay, that was a question from Scott. Scott always asks the good questions. All right.
It's probably the one drawback. It's a little pricey. So that's something to keep in mind. It's not free. It's not
good to know. Good to know. All right, guys, you've seen the first round of competition. What do you think? Are we ready for round two?
I'm good to go.
Everybody's ready? Okay, Eric, before I bring you up, I will send everybody back to the green room, and I just want to take this brief moment to thank all of our patrons. Tech is a community-funded channel. It's brought to you through the generosity of our community, you folks watching right now, through the crowdfunding site Patreon. Every week we do these free tutorial webinars. Today's is kind of more fun, but typically speaking, we focus on single topics, and we teach something in the productivity or in the content creation or in the social marketing space. And all of those videos, all of the live streams are available for 1 week for free on YouTube or Facebook. After that, we pull them and we put them into our Webinar Wednesday archives. And those archives are where our patrons are, I guess, the biggest perk that our patrons get. This is our 157th Webinar Wednesday. We've been doing it for quite some time, and the archives are full of great tutorials that get you started in the right direction. So thank you so much to all of our patrons. April has dropped the link in the description, and so if you're inclined to support us, Patreon is the place. We thank you all so much for your ongoing support. All right, Erik, let's get to your next app, which is...
All right, next up, I'm going to come in hot with Krisp.
Krisp. Oh, yes. I was intrigued when you shared Krisp with me. So talk to me about Krisp.
Yes, so I guess I caught a lot of flack for doing not a cross-platform last time. So fine then, I'll bring one that's Mac and Windows. And what Krisp is this is, you know how, over again, I'm sensing a theme here. Over the course of the past year, we've all been doing a lot of meetings, and we had to invest in noise-canceling headphones per se for blocking out the people that are around us. But that didn't do anything to stop, say, our microphone from picking up those people for the meeting that people are attending with us. Well, Krisp is that in-between filter between your microphone and the noise here, and then the people receiving it on the other end. It is that extra filter. It removes noise of kids and, here you go, Steve, dogs and street noise, cafes, though that's not necessarily an issue for a lot of people right now, but it will be eventually soon. And this is great. I mean, you install it, and then you select your inputs, and then you go into this and select your inputs and outputs. And I have tested it and used it. And I can say that I was turning on my two big speakers here with music, and then I started a call and I recorded it. And as it was going, barely able to pick up a note or two once in a while in between the words that I was saying, and that's it. It was so effective. I was quite amazed.
I gotta admit, when I heard about it, I was afeared. I'm afeared of using too many different audio tools that are going to conflict. So, for example, we are using within Restream Studio is a noise cancellation feature. It suppresses background noise, so it's got software encoded. Zoom, where we do so many of our meetings, has a digitization of the voice to make the voice, first of all, to compress it, make it smaller, but it also eliminates some background noise. Is there any issue of conflict between other pieces of software that you're using, or even a piece of hardware like your mixer in the mix?
No, not at all. Because again, what this is doing is it's taking what it receives initially, goes through that one pass. So it's like double filtering. So if you felt like Zoom or, some of the others you listed weren't doing enough, this will even more drastically reduce that background. It's like, how microphones work, especially like this kind, where it's like,
yeah,
hey, over here, you can't hear me as much, but right up on top of it, it's like reducing even more so that, that aperture, which for cameras, not microphones.
Absolute
But you get what I'm
it's,
saying.
It's great for fitness classes. And do you notice any clipping? Does it have trouble picking up the start? So because that was the other thing that I would think there would be right away.
No, and there's actually another company that I'm looking at right now that is also coming out with something that they claim is better than this, but I'm not going to say that right now. And they haven't surpassed it just yet. But this works really well and is free, and it's Windows and it's Mac, and everybody should try it out.
All right, Krisp is Erik's audio tool of choice, especially to cause us to irritate people when we are in our meetings a little bit less. Excellent one. Excellent choice. Excellent choice, Erik. Go away. Amy.
I want to stick really closely to sharing apps that help you do things faster and get more done, and our productivity apps. And so I want to talk about the TomatoTimer. The TomatoTimer is a Chrome extension. It is specific to Chrome, although the principle is the Pomodoro timer. So a productivity tool, I'm sure we all know, where you do spurts of work, you time yourself on a 25-minute burst of work, and then you take a 5-minute break. The TomatoTimer itself, I love so much because it's simply a little extension. You put it up in the corner of your browser, you can turn it on, and it also blocks sites. So I have, for example, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all blocked. So when I start my TomatoTimer, I start a 25-minute burst of work and I try to go to Facebook. It actually brings up a little sad-faced tomato that says, "Are you kidding me?" So it stops me from going to those sites. So it truly does help me get more done. So I do my work based in this 25-minute block, and it stops me from going to the sites that I really shouldn't be going to in that time. So I love that for a productivity app.
I love this idea. And thank you so much, because guess what we are doing next week? Next week, our first webinar is it's time to do a time audit, which is the beginning of an entire process that we're going to go through over the next month of talking about how we use our time. And then it's going to finish with a Mastering the Pomodoro webinar, where we're going to talk about using some of these techniques to get far more efficient use of our time and far more disciplined. So what a great lead in. And
so effective. It's amazing how much more you can get done.
It's surprising how much easier it is to stay on focus when you do have a timer, when you are holding yourself accountable. And you know that, sometimes when we get, when we hit a roadblock, it's so easy for us to change channels, to just go into Facebook for a few minutes, to just and we're thinking it's just to kind of cleanse our palate so that we can come back at it fresh. Way better is to have something looking over your shoulder saying, "No, finish this task now." And then you do, and you feel good. It's a good winner.
Context switching is too expensive. Yeah.
It's so simple, but it's winner, winner, chicken dinner. Awesome job, Amy. I like that one. Good choice. All right. I'm going to send you back now, and we will bring up Mike, who has no chance of giving us anything better than that.
Well, I am actually going to jump on the heels of that conversation, because I have a time and or task tracking app that I want to share with you that doesn't just necessarily have to be an app, but you can have a physical device to go with it.
This one is so weird. You went and made me look at it, and now my Facebook feed is filled with these guys are retargeting like fiends.
It's Timeular. So it is available for iOS, Android, Mac OS, Windows, and if you're a Linux user, it's in beta for Linux as well. It is Timeular, Deb. So here's the thing is I love the fact that it's a physical device. You don't necessarily need to have the physical device. The app and that you could actually use the app in the same way that you could use it with a Pomodoro. You could use it to track specific types of tasks you're doing. And I'm a big believer in tracking how long you're spending doing the tasks that really matter. So if you're looking at this, it's like an 8-sided die. So you have 8 slots. Kind of looks like those old Dungeons and Dragons dice or whatever. Yeah. And on each side, I have it allocated to a specific type of task. So I'm using this with my theming, right? So if it's deep, it's going to be on one side, and it connects via Bluetooth either to your desktop computer or to your mobile device. And so what's great about it is you get this data that says how much time you're spending working on whatever you've attached to this side. So if it's, like say a specific type of task, then you can see that. If you want to get really granular and say, I want to know how much time I'm spending on email or how much time I'm spending writing or working on YouTube, you can do all that. It's neat that I can actually see this thing too. So it's in front of me. It's a physical tactile thing, which means I'm not looking for, I need to switch toggle off, or I need to do this via, because there's a lot of things going on my screen. I see this thing on my desk. It's great. But again, you can use the app on its own. I love this thing. I think it's great. I think it's well worth your time. The
key to this though, Mike, is it's intentional tracking of time as opposed to passive tracking. I'm a big fan of rescue time. So I know exactly what I'm doing, and so I can recognize where I can become a little bit more efficient.
Right.
Rescue time will do this. It'll tell me what time you spend on each one based on what you've done. But this is, you flip it over and then it gives you intent. Is there any haptic feedback or any audible feedback that it lets you know the beginning of the end or anything along that line?
There's no haptic feedback or anything like that. When you're dealing with Timeular. So you're not going to get it like, hey, you've moved away from this task or whatever. It's not going to necessarily do that. But if anyone's followed my work for a while, you know that my belief of productivity, it's intention plus attention. So this gets the intention locked in, and it also gets the attention, because you can say, hey, I should have been working on this. I flipped it. It's very intentional. And I like that. I think
so. Do you feel guilty? Do you like start doing something else and then look over and see that you're supposed to be doing accounting and then go, ugh?
Yep. it does create that because you see it, it's physically there. To me, that's a big win. So I'm a big fan of it. And I think, again, the fact that you can use it just as the app on its own makes it a bit more accessible as well. But I like having the device on my desk. It just stands things out. So yes, it's intentional. You're not going to necessarily have it tracking where you're going 100%. But for the things that you really want to do that you're intentional about, I think this thing is a fantastic tool, whether you're using the device on its own, or whether you're using it the app and device combo.
I noticed a chat come through. Somebody was asking about your calendar in the background with the green and orange one. They want to know about it.
That's just the Lego calendar. I manually change it every single day. So it's just a neat little Lego thing. I'll tell you, if it's on the wrong, if this desk flips up and I flip down the desk and I see it's been a couple of days since I've changed that, then I know I haven't been spending any time writing. So that's why it's there.
Okay, good stuff. All right, Mike. So there we are. Timeular for intentional, for adding intent to your productivity. Excellent, excellent. I was wrong about Mike. He actually came up with a strong contender. All right. Oh, looks like we're right on time. We've each done 2. So I'm going to just quickly recap the roster that they've given us so far. Mike has shared with us Front and Timeular. Amy has shared with us Workflowy. No, sorry, Streak. I might have got ahead. Streak and the Tomato, the TomatoTimer extension, which is a Pomodoro extension for Chrome. And Erik has shared Meter, which helps us plan meetings, not plan to be a better carnivore. And he's also shared Krisp, the audio suppression tool. So we're all about suppression today as well. We're just kind of going with the flow, I guess, there. So let's head back with Erik. Erik, do you have more suppressive tools for us?
Sure. I can be suppressive, I believe. I'm going to go with Overviewer for my next entry.
Overviewer, tell me about it.
Yeah. So Overviewer is, again, in the theme of things. My first one had to do with meetings. The second one had to do with suppressing the audio for the meetings. And so this is an iOS app that you can plug in through Lightning, and you can use it to share that screen from your phone as a third-party camera or an extra camera to switch to for screen sharing during your meetings. And so this is great because, this is especially great for teachers or those of us who teach via video, to be able to hold the camera out and then, show handwriting or going through math problems as they give an example of. And it's
turning your phone into a document camera.
Well, not just a document camera, but a video camera. It's using the available video cameras. So front facing, back facing. So in other words, you could even literally use this as another view of your studio if you wanted to, Steve. You could have this set up over here as a second camera if you wanted. So
it's plugged in by Lightning. Now, I've tested a few of these that are Bluetooth, and they're a little bit laggy.
Yeah. This one I haven't. I if I'm ever using a secondary camera, I don't use it non-wired. I always go wired. For internet, for cameras, connection, just lag doesn't make any sense not to have the wire. With this one, it does have AirPlay support, but I don't know that I would definitely use that. But I've seen no lag as I've used it.
Okay, and can you use your can you switch audio sources? Will it provide an audio source or just a video source?
They don't even attempt to say that, so I would guess that there's no audio on it. I believe it's for yeah. But the beautiful thing here is, okay, so yes, Mac versus Windows, iOS versus Android. Okay, it's an iOS thing, so it's iOS only, but you can use it for Mac, and you could plug it into Windows and it would still register as another camera if you're using the app. So
okay, so so what we would do is, say, within Zoom, when you go, you would just select it as a different source.
Yep, you just select that as your source.
Yeah, okay, good stuff. So it's called Overviewer. Yes. Is it free or is it a paid app?
You know what? I believe it's free. I don't remember paying for it. Maybe I didn't. No, it's free. The other cool thing is you can turn your flashlight on to, highlight stuff as you're using it. So there you go.
Okay, good stuff. And that's so Overviewer, which turns your iPhone via cable into another source.
Yes, actually iOS. So you could also use this with an iPad.
Okay, good stuff, Erik. All righty then. That is Erik's overviewer. Amy, how we doing?
Oh, great.
Yeah, enjoying it. Is this the most fun you've ever had in a live stream?
I mean, getting to talk about productivity apps with a bunch of people is up there on my list of things that are a good time.
So even having Vardy on doesn't spoil it?
I'll take it.
Okay. What do you got for us?
Let's talk about Workflowy.
Because I mentioned it last time. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. I think the reason that I picked Workflowy was because Workflowy is an app where you can organize notes. And the thing that I like so much about it is that all of the notes are nested. So you're able to create this really clean interface where you can focus on exactly which piece of the puzzle, which piece of the list you're working on. So a little bit hard to explain without showing the interface, but what it allows you to do is essentially have a list, and then you can nest lists within lists, and you can close and open based on wherever you are in the list. They've also added some other really amazing features, like you can now create a little Kanban board within a list. So you can have a list that is list view, and then you can create a little board inside of that. So a use case for that might be if you have in a personal list and you've got maybe health as a category, and then within that you've got a meal plan where you have a board of Monday to Friday meals that you're planning. And so there's all of these different ways to organize information, and then you can collapse what you're not focusing on right now so that you can really just have that clean interface to focus on one thing at a time. They also have a new feature called mirroring, which is where if you have a task that you want to show up in two different places, you can mirror it so that if you make a change to one version, it updates the other at the same time. Because one thing people are finding is that if you have two separate lists, but the same thing on two lists, they weren't connected. So now there's that mirror feature there.
So are these just basically lists, or are they integrated into reminders of some sort? Do they, like when you put an appointment or something on a list, are you sent a reminder? Do you have like, do you get like a percentage of things that you've done, kind of a checklist type feature? Does it have any of those features?
It does have some of those features, so you can get reminders and so on. I think the sort of power of it is, so an example might be or a use case might be if you were writing a book, this would be a really clean way to have sort of all of the chapters nested within. So it can be used as a to-do list. I use it in conjunction with Asana, which is where my to-do list actually is. And so you can use it as reminders and things, but I think the power is in being able to compartmentalize and organize information and be able to open up a thing and focus directly on that one thing without a lot of peripheral.
Are the notes web elements? Can you create a link from a note and then share that note via browser so people can see your list in their browser?
Yes.
And so it's very similar in some ways to Evernote.
Yes, I would say it's similar to Evernote with a cleaner interface.
What about search?
Search is good. Yeah. What are the search? I would have to look into that a little. I don't do a lot of searching, but I know that it does have a search function. Yeah. And
what about hosting other types of content? Can you host other assets within it? Videos, graphics, that sort of stuff?
No.
Okay.
You can do attachments.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a cleaner, simpler interface than Evernote, but it brings a lot of the same sort of archiving of your knowledge base into place, and it allows you to organize it as list. So it's as far as that goes, that's cool. And there's no hierarchical limitation to the number of notes that can link downs, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So whereas Evernote, you have a hierarchical limitation of the number of notebooks you can have, for example. This sounds like it's a little bit more vertical as far as that goes. Sounds good. It sounds very promising. And what about apps? Has it got a good iOS, good Android app?
That is an excellent question that I do not know the answer to.
I'll let you research that, and if it makes it to the finals, you can fill us in.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, good stuff. Workflowy is the next entry, and it does sound fairly appealing, does it not? So where are we? Who's next? Oh, it's Mike. Is it Mike next already? Yeah, I think we're already back to you, Mike. We are rocking through this list.
We're are.
Through all four. Heads up to all the competitors. We are going to do a round 4.
Awesome. All right. Well, I wanted to bring something a bit unique to the table. I'm going to say right out of the gate, it's iOS only. So it is for Apple Watch and iPhone users. But one of the things that I think people need to start working on is habit tracking. I think habit tracking is one of those things that I think a lot of people who want to be more productive, instead of putting it in their to-do list, they should maybe have a dedicated app for tracking their habits. There's a lot of them out there, but the one that I think is the most unique and does things a little bit differently is called Hindsight. So Hindsight, instead of you tracking necessarily like the streak of, let's say you've done it 7, 8, 9, 10, 30 days in a row. What Hindsight does is it tells you the last time that you did something. So it works both for habits maybe you're trying to break, but also habits that you're trying to get to make stick. So for example, if you're trying, let's say, not to eat junk food, you can mark every occurrence that you eat junk food, and then it will say, well, it's been X number of days, hours, whatever, that you've last eaten junk food. So you get to track those bad habits, and you can create like different color flags so you can see what's a bad habit versus what's a good habit. You can even use it to help start building evening and morning routines, but you can also do it to build good habits. So you can say, hey, you know what? I've been doing this consistently for the past, week, 2 weeks, and I've been using it a lot. And I like it because there is that idea of, oh no, I haven't done this in a while. It's kind of like that don't break the chain thing that Jerry Seinfeld talks about. The idea that if you miss one day, it's not going to kill you, but you start missing more than one day. And this is typical habit research. All of a sudden, it's that much harder for you to get back on that, on the wagon with your habits. So I'm a big fan of this. There's a lot of different habit tracking apps out there, but this one, to me, it's the one that just seems to resonate with me the most. So that's how I track my habits, and it's been something I've been using for a while. I'm a big fan.
Well, it's almost the exact opposite of the intentional timer. So rather than saying putting the intention of your habits, it's actually tracking. It's a lot more along the lines of what Rescue Time does for our time.
Yeah,
it's telling you this is what you did.
Yep.
Do you know that?
Yeah, exactly. It's really weird how that seems to be the way it works for me. But also, I haven't had soda pop since July 2nd of last year, and that's in there. So I can see like it's been X number of months since you've done that. So then all of a sudden I can say, wow, it's been that long since I've done something bad. But also, yeah, you know what? I didn't write in my journal yesterday. You could see that too. So I think that there's some really interesting way that they're doing this. I don't know why it's not available for Android, to be honest. It seems like it's something that could be simply built, but it's iOS only. I'm a fan. If you're using iOS and you're trying to find a habit tracking app that you want to put through the paces, I think Hindsight's one you should give strong consideration to.
And I think I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true. I'm pretty sure it's not. But when they were actually naming the product, they were really choosing between Hindsight and recrimination.
That would make a lot of sense.
But they thought Hindsight might just be a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. So give it a look. Especially if Apple Watch users, I mean, habit tracking on your Apple Watch is a big thing you can put through the paces too.
Good stuff. All right, we're down to the final round. So each of you has now presented 3 of your apps. We've got some strong contenders. We've got some really unique contenders, but now we're down to the final. I'm just curious how each one of you is feeling. Are you feeling solid? Are you feeling a little bit nervous? This is kind of like that interview they do with the coach just before the 4th quarter. What do you need to do to bring this one home? Mike, what do you think you need to do?
I gotta basically put it all out there with this last one, like as if I'm leaving it all out, as if I'm gonna like just die on the field. Yeah. That's what I think I need to do.
Yeah, I hear you. Amy, how you feeling?
I feel great. I feel like I just have to stick with simple and effective and helping people save time, and I think I could bring this one home.
Eric, when you look at your competition, do you see somebody out there that you're scared of? Are you going after anybody?
As long as it's not you, so I feel pretty good here.
What do you mean by that?
You win by default every time we do something like this. So you not being in here, hey, I have a chance. Plus, I also, again, still have the knowledge of knowing at least Steve didn't win.
Okay. That's
I love you.
it's kind of hurtful.
Yeah.
You've hurt me in my happy place. I thought we were on
I
a
didn't
different
do anything there.
I thought our relationship was at a different level. Apparently I'm wrong. All right. So, Mr. Smarty Pants, what's your final?
Oh, right. I'm up next.
Yeah, you're up next now.
Okay. My next one is called Beeper. And this is one that I think is going to be great for everyone.
I just have to ask you, did you want to do them back to back? Did you want to go meter beeper?
Oh, I switched it up for sure.
Okay.
Because I almost tried to come up with other ones once I had those first two, come up with other ones that had rhyming names with them, but I didn't do that because that would have been confusing. This is something I've been looking for a very long time as somebody who not only uses social media, but works in social media. The ability to connect all your social chats into one place. Now, this isn't going to clean up everything, but it's going to clean up most things as far as private messages for sure when it comes to Instagram, iMessage, Twitter DMs, Slack, WhatsApp, Skype. What am I missing? There's a couple
IRC.
of Facebook Messenger, IRC, all of these different things that are all in different places. And to be able to have them all in one app, to be able to have a native chat in one place, to go in and just do all those private messages with people all in one place. This is for Mac OS, Windows, Linux, iOS, and Android. This is the one ring to rule them all when it comes to social media private chat for all of your accounts across the board.
Is it a browser based tool? Is it an app that you install?
No, you download. Yeah,
Sorry?
it is a download. You download this and there you go.
So it consolidates all of your social conversations in one place?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a little bit too good to be true, but it is true.
But it's an excuse killer. I don't check my link. Does it do LinkedIn?
You know what? It doesn't say that. You called out its Achilles heel. Oh my gosh. But that's a good thing in a way because oh my gosh, the LinkedIn private pitch messages. Geez. I mean, you could I kind of wish it did. So just I could for spite leave it disconnected, but because you don't have to connect all of them. I don't have what else is in here that I don't have? I don't have
IRC.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of one. Yeah, I don't know. Who uses IRC? Not me, but I'm not going to do that. So anyway, but that said, this is a really effective way to go in once or twice to a single inbox and then switch accounts and just go through and just have the messages for all of your social.
So is it a consolidated inbox, or do you have to go? Do you see like a banner with messages? You've got this many in Messenger. You've got this many in Skype. Do you see it that way?
It's kind of. I mean, it's similar looking to Facebook Messenger, where you would just go up and down and see who it is you're chatting with, and it kind of disregards what network they're coming in from. It's kind of agnostic at that point.
Okay. There's good and there's bad to this, Eric. I got to tell you, I like being able to tell people. I never go on Facebook, so if you've been pinging me there, I've got good reason for having ignored you.
Well, again, don't connect that one.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty compelling. If somebody could do that with the chat for streaming, that would be amazing.
Agree.
That's the one I'm waiting for. But this is a strong contender. There you go, Eric. Way to leave the best for last. Good stuff. Amy, Eric has brought the kind of the heavyweight.
I'm nervous. Yeah.
All right. So tell me about your final.
I'm going to stick with my less is more theme with the removing distractions and really focusing on having a clean interface to get some deep work and deep thinking done. And I want to talk about Zen Mind Map. So there is a paid tool. I use the free version. It is simply a mind mapping tool that you can use where you can brainstorm maybe an online course idea or think through a workflow. And it just allows you to visually mind map in a simple tool with a clean interface to really help you think through a workflow.
It is a lovely looking mind mapping tool. You know, I think that mind mapping is one of those practices that we simply don't do enough. Not enough people use.
It saves me so much time to just mind map something before I dive into thinking on just getting all the ideas out there. And I love this tool for a digital version. I can share it with my team. It's just a really simple, clean way to do some quick, deeper thinking before I dive into a project. And I love having that functionality at my fingertips.
And what I like about this is it's a simple tool. Some of the mind mapping tools become incredibly complex because they try and put almost procedures and systems in place, and they almost want to help you with the project management of it as you kind of evolve your mind map through to a finished project. And so like tools like Mind Manager, which are really robust tools, but they have a steep learning curve, and you have to be kind of using them constantly to take real advantage of them. This looks like something that you can jump in, do it in a brainstorming session, and you'll get everything you need out of it.
And so I think I have an unpopular approach where it's like, sometimes I don't want all my tools in one thing. Sometimes I want a tool to just do the one thing that it's good at and pop out and use it for what it's good at. And I think Zen Mind Map does that.
Yeah, so you have a comment that Steve was asking if we've used MindJet Mind Manager. I've used it I had it for years, but I just believe that it's a little bit of if you use it a lot, they're great, but if you don't, it's a little bit of a hurdle to get going. So it's something that's easy to get access to. Low commitment, free is very good in this particular case. All right, so we have your Zen Mind Map. And Zen, it just creates an aura of calmness.
I know, I love calm.
Good stuff. Home. All right, Mike, this is the final. This is the final one. The last. This is the ultimate.
This is the end.
Entry. This is the end.
This is the end.
So what have you got for us?
So we all love getting reminders, right? Like I'm going to focus my last, effort on a reminder app, but it's a rather unusual reminder app. It's called WeCroak, and it's going to remind you that we're all going to die.
Mike Vardy, you are such a jackass.
So the idea behind this is that it is based a lot on the Stoic philosophy and also the Bhutanese folks saying that in order to be a happy person, you need to contemplate death 5 times daily. So think about the fact that, yes, indeed, we are all going to shuffle off this mortal coil at some point, and know it. Maybe you need a reminder to put forth your best effort.
Can you see our numbers plummeting?
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm ending strong. I'm just ending. So I actually do like getting these reminders every once in a while, because it does kind of go, oh, I really, we only have a limited time, so I want to make sure I make the most of it. So this is it. There's a Leap version of it as well. There's a Leap version.
God.
So hold on. And it's for, what is it? It's for iOS and Android. So it's not just iOS. Awesome. So I'm not leaving the Android users out in the cold. No pun intended. But I think it's an interesting app, especially if you're into the idea of the philosophies of Stoicism, if you're into the philosophies of knowing that. I mean, I remember that there was this watch that actually counted down the amount of time you had left based on your age and stuff like this. This is just a gentle reminder like, hey, are you doing the stuff you should be doing? Because remember, you're not going to be here forever.
The entire internet death cult is coming out of the woodwork. Angela Crocker, who wrote the book along with our friends about planning your digital legacy of what you do, what you do with all your digital assets after you die. She is all over this. She's saying, yes, you're all going to croak. Buy my book first.
Going to be at the Big Ready. They're doing a workshop on planning your digital legacy. That's the work. So there you go. It seems fitting. I think we're actually ending the Big Ready with that too. So there you go.
Thank God Tim Cook this isn't an Apple product, and instead of Just Breathe is WeCroak on our phone as one of the reminder apps. So that brings us to a crashing close. Our 4 apps from each of our contenders. So here is what we do next. what happens now is we are in the elimination round, which should happen very quickly. Each one of our contenders gets to pick one app from one of the other contenders to be our finalists. And then in a entirely unique offering, this particular Webinar Wednesday, App Wednesday, for the first time ever, you, our audience, will get to vote on the winner. Usually it's arbitrarily decided by me, along with the different people shouting out in chat. But I've built just a little Google form, which we will share with you in just a few moments, which will allow you to vote for the winner so they can hold their head high knowing that they've convinced the great unwashed internet mob that their app is the best. So here we go. I am going to ask our newcomer first, Amy, to pick one of Erik's apps. Now, Erik, your apps are, I'm just going to remind you, Amy, Erik's apps are Meter, Beeper, Overviewer, and Krisp. Do you need a reminder of what each one is? Meter helps consolidate all of your meetings into one dashboard. Beeper consolidates all of your social messages into one dashboard. Overviewer converts your iPhone into a camera for live streaming or streaming applications, and Krisp helps to mute your microphones or helps to eliminate annoying background noise from your audio feed. Which one do you select for Erik Fisher?
Erik, we just met. I like you very much so far from what I've seen. And Beeper is the only app I could see myself truly using. And so that's going to be my choice. I'm not going to go strategic on this one. I'm going to pick the app that I think is the best.
Beeper.
Beeper.
Oh, I'm not on screen. April just told me. There we go. I've been looking. That's great. Okay. You can see my note. All right. Beeper is the app. All right. Mike, you get to pick one of Amy's apps. Amy's offerings were Workflowy, Streak for Gmail, Zen Mind Map, and the TomatoTimer Chrome extension, a very simple little tool that helps with Pomodoro.
I'm going to go with the one that I've used and that I actually think is really a great app. It's Workflowy.
Okay, Workflowy.
Workflowy.
Okay.
I thought you might say that, Mike.
All right, that makes total sense. And the reason is you think it's a good app.
I do. I think it's great. And I actually think it's something that people should start looking more at instead of some of the other ones that are popping up nowadays.
All right. Erik, you get to pick from Mike Vardy's. So you get to pick either one of the front or the back, I guess the up or the down. The front is called front, which pulls to, what does front do again, Mike?
It's a communication hub for email.
Oh, that's right. A communication hub that replaces everything.
Pretty much.
In your world. So that's front, and then back is Hindsight. Follow my metaphor here. I've really brought the strong hosting.
I was really thoughtful about these. I wanted to set you up nicely.
So front, Hindsight, which takes a look at all of the bad habits and tells you, nah, you did it again. And then Timeular.
This is how I lose.
Which is a dice that tells you what's that?
This is how I lose. You butcher everything, and then it's like
Timeular is a dice that's very expensive.
Oh my gosh.
And finally, WeCroak, which I'm afraid that Webinar Wednesday might be doing at this particular moment. So which of the apps of Mike do you want to put out for the judgment of the great crowd?
Well, here's the thing. I actually really appreciate all the apps that have been brought. You know, great apps on both sides here. But I will say Mike's made this very easy because I will go strategic and pick WeCroak, because not only did the audience jump on that one, hate it, I do agree with the philosophy of it, and I think it's a really good idea, so I can do it with a clear conscience. So there you go, Mike.
I am going to text you once a day. Hey, Erik, dead yet?
Oh, that's going to be great.
Yeah, that would be nasty. All right, so now we have the finalists. So April, can you share the link into both of the chats as quickly as possible. So what we've got here is, I don't know if this is going to work, if it's going to happen in real time, but I've created a form, and we didn't know which apps would be on the form, so we just put the names, Amy, Eric, and Mike. So if you want to support Amy's app, which is Workflowy, if you want to support Eric's app, which is, what was the name of it again? Beeper, the communications app, or if you want to join Mike's death cult, you can sign up there by clicking it. And let me take a look and see if we're getting responses. Look, you guys will see them happening in real time. I can bring them up here so you can actually see it. So far, Amy is way ahead. She is she's pulling away with Workflowy at this point here. Mike is way in the back. Oh no, Mike just passed Eric. Oh, this is great. We can see it happening in real time.
I really appreciate WeCroak too, Mike, just for the record.
There you go.
It's like it's a eulogy going on right now for me.
Amy, you're pulling ahead. You've got 70% of the vote.
It's a good app.
And this is a secure electoral system, by the way, folks. It's been tested and tested. Like I built it this morning and said, is this going to work? This is going to work. This takes all of the pressure off me. It also is kind of disappointing because it eliminates my ability to be really nasty. And
what would you pick, Steve?
Which one would I pick of the lot?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have, first of all, I wouldn't have selected one of the ones that you guys selected as the contender. That's why I'm just going back and looking at I can't do that, or I'll look at my notes. I really like the meeting one, the meter. I could see how that's something that I will actually, that's what I should actually have chosen as mine, because I think that's something that I would use and I will use. I will try. But of all of these, I think Workflowy certainly, it's something that's going to be interesting to have a look at. I have a concern about Eric's beeper, because it ultimately makes us more accessible. And I'm not sure that is something that we all want to really strive to. That we might be better off being a little bit less accessible. So, but we've seen enough. We've got 132 responses. This is phenomenal. And Amy, you're just running away with it. So here's what this means. Next time we do this is you have to return as champion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't tell you that before, did I?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start researching.
And if you want, we have a plaque that we can send you, but it costs you $100.
Amazing.
I just made that up. It's not true.
Okay, I'll take a digital copy.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. Let's let everybody know where they can follow you, and one more time to make sure that you guys get some value out of being here, other than just the entertainment value. Eric, of course, Agorapulse is your day job, but your side hustle is beyond the to-do list. The links, by the way, we will be sending you guys out an email with all of the links to all of these different applications, as well as information to follow each of our guests. But beyond the to-do list, how many years is it? 6 years, 7 years that you've been doing the podcast?
More than that. It's going on 9.
Have you been a guest on it, Amy?
Have I?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
No, but she will now.
Mike, have you been a guest? Many times,
Yes,
I imagine.
many times.
I've never been a guest on it.
Really?
Otto, we used to do a live show that I turned into episodes of that podcast.
I never signed a release on that.
Productivity Blab. You verbal agreement.
Oh, did I? Good
Yes.
for me. Okay, so I've been on the show.
Yes. Like
I
5-6 times or more.
I missed that, Blab. Everybody thinks this Clubhouse is the best
But we
thing.
should do, you should also come. All 3 of you need to come on this year. Seriously.
Okay. We will do that. So
Okay.
beyond the to-do list, Mike, one chance to mention your the big ready.
The Big Ready coming up next Tuesday. 29 presenters, workshops, panels, keynotes. You get recordings of them. It's going to be great. Thebigready.com. I know April's been putting a link in there too. So thanks for that, April. Hope to
Amy,
see you all there.
do you have like group training things, like overall, like a training series on Asana, or is it all one-on-one type work?
I have a free Asana mini training that is a perfect place to get started with Asana that I love to share with people. It's really the crux of the way I use Asana. So
we will include that in the note. If you haven't yet signed up, if you didn't register for today's Webinar Wednesday, make sure April will drop the link in. Make sure you give us your email address so that we can send you the show notes from today's show. And that's it. We're 2 minutes over, which is pretty darn good. I got to thank each and every one of my guests. I'm going to just put you in the green room while I wrap things up. But thanks, guys. You were awesome, and I appreciate your good humor and you're not being mad at me for making fun of you as we went through the whole thing. Quick reminder, next week coming up, we're going to be really focusing for the rest of this month on really getting far more productive. So next week, we're going to talk about doing a time audit, finding out where we actually spend our time. And it can be a little bit eye-opening of how much time we spend on different types of tasks. And once we assign and figure out what those tasks are, we can figure out ways to get more productive, which will carry on with a theme through the entire month. Once again, my thanks to our sponsor, Restream Studio, Restream.io. We would not be able to deliver this weekly live stream without them. And to all of our patrons who support us, you guys are the wind beneath our wings. We would not be here without you. We appreciate you each and every week, and more as each month goes by. Till next time, I am Steve Dotto. Have fun storming a castle.